Okay. Hello, everybody. It's Brian. Breaksec Education. We're doing Sunday night. For those of you who might have heard, had a guest this week. Unfortunately, Tanya will not be here. She had fallen ill or taken ill, and she didn't go to B-Sides, and we were going to talk about a little bit about that. But she's feeling poorly, and we're going to get her rescheduled at some point in the near future. But yeah, glad we were still able to get Mr. Betcher and Miss Berlin on to talk about all the awesomeness of the past couple of months or weeks. It's been a while since we've all been in one room together. So, yeah. So, Mr. Betcher, how are you, sir?
Same old, same old. Working,
Yeah.
which is good.
Anything interesting that you've seen or done in the past month or so?
Try to put a security spin on something.
No. Yeah. Did you?
No.
Yeah.
Just in general, in life.
In life. I tell you, I'm trying to build a barndominium.
I'm sorry. Wait.
I want one so bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, I live in Southern California on the West Coast, so I don't a
don't have 'em there.
barndominium.
Oh, you've never heard of this?
No, I'm sorry, no.
We have
Oh.
them everywhere here in Italy.
They're all the rage, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Am I going to find this on Magnolia Network or some shit like this?
All the networks, right? No,
Barn.
well, it's going to be like a workshop, but I have a house plan ready to go, and I've done all the plumbing. So plumbed it out, put the slab, and bought the building. Now I'm erecting the building, and I've got the frame up. I just need to put the panels along the side and the roof. I've got insulation too. So I haven't been able to work on it in a while because it's been raining, and I don't, you don't want the insulation to get wet.
Right.
So it has to be all done, like the sides and the roof together before it rains. So yeah.
So the site that I just posted up from advancedhouseplans.com, they said barndominium floor plans, also known as barndos or Shouses, is essentially a shop house combo.
So these ones are way fancier than what we have. I don't know what yours is going to look like, Brian, but the ones that you have in these pictures are that's next level barndominium.
Yeah.
Like a normal person's barndominium is like we also call them like storage. People say have like storage condos that they kind of do this with too.
Okay.
Where
right.
you can buy, like, people normally put like their boats in them around here.
I guess it got started.
Yeah.
Where people would buy this barn and they would buy part of someone's property, right? That had the barn on it, and they build in the loft or on to the side, and they'd have a workshop there, in the empty space. My neighbor actually has a barn, and he lives in just a little room. It's just him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I mean, the whole idea is like you live in a little apartment inside of your barn in hopes that like they'll build a house, but then people just stopped building houses and then started living in our barn.
Yeah.
Right.
And so now they're building barn dominium like from scratch, but it's like the entire thing, bigger than the average house.
Yeah, because the round rock, which is one of the designs on the site, has 2,750 square feet of space, which is bigger than my house.
That's about that's around the same size as my house, but like.
But the thing is, they're
gorgeous.
The frames are relatively cheap to construct, and then you have more money, I guess, to work on the inside to do fancy. Yeah. And mine has, I think, a 50-year like warranty as far as it's construction. Like, it's not going to fall down, right?
Right.
But you're putting it together, right?
That's right. I'm putting it together, but it still has the 50-year warranty.
Okay.
because it's made out of steel, I-beams, things like that. It's
Right.
really
Interesting.
stout.
You putting like a Tesla roof or something on there so you can, have power when everything goes to
It's-
shit in Texas?
One of the roofs, I don't know, what do you call that? Roof panels. It's facing due south. And I've got like most barndominiums have a very shallow angle. So I got one that's more angled so that you get more
That's
sunlight.
cool.
So it's
Very
ready for
nice.
solar panels. I just, yeah, one of these days maybe.
That's cool. Okay. Wow. You learn something new every day. I'm expecting, Betcher's barndominiums on the Magnolia Network or something like that, where you're flipping barns
Yeah.
from 1900s to
Yeah.
become a barndominium or whatever.
Well,
So
it's when we first got married, somebody brought something. I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to buy an SUV. And we were like, what's an SUV? Oh, it's a sport utility vehicle. Well, okay, what are those? Oh,
right.
like the Ford Explorer or the Suburban or thing. Oh,
Bronco.
okay. Yeah, the
Yep.
those
Bronco.
things had been around for a while, but no one ever called them SUVs, right?
Right.
So,
Right. That makes sense.
yeah, in
You'll
a
get
couple
there.
of years, you'll be
We'll get
like
there.
looking at barndominiums to buy and rent out or something like that. Yeah, they'll be all over the place.
I was like, who the hell is wanting to drop their Venmo about putting money to? Oh, okay, it's Miss Berlin. Okay, good God. Hey, Super Lolly, good to see you, sir. Happy Monday morning to you. Happy
Building
anyway.
things is expensive.
Yeah, they don't look cheap. The barndominiums. Some of those floor plans look very nice. So especially that 3,000 square foot home. That's crazy. 3,293 square foot has it has a 49 foot by 59 foot garage / shop. So you can have, that's the majority of the house.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it's got like 10, 15 feet. So you could have like 2 layers to your garage or what have you. So dear God. Oh, it's a 14-foot ceiling. So yeah, you could easily have 2 floors on that with little to no issues. It'd be a bit tight,
Or a
I
really
think.
big boat.
Yeah.
A really,
really
big
big
boat on a
boat.
trailer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So if by the way, for those of you watching the show right now or the VOD, that QR code up in the upper right hand corner and the picture next to it are one and the same, kind of. The pictures of there you go. Yes, exactly. Point that direction, Ms. Berlin. That is the Defensive Security Handbook version 2, which is currently on pre-sale from Amazon.com. It is an O'Reilly book because it has the porcupine. And Miss Berlin and Bill Rayer and Lee Brotherston wrote a second edition of the seminal classic that everybody says, hey, you should go get that. And that QR code, if you scan it, and assuming you trust us because we're not assholes here, it actually goes to the Amazon site to pre-order the book. And at some point in the next month or two, we will definitely have the authors on to talk about the book, changes that have occurred. If we can figure out which one of the authors we can get on, because we can't get any of them on. They're all too far and too important to have us join.
Very.
Yes.
So what happens when you become big famous authors.
That's
An
right.
author, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, so there's no referral code or anything there. It's just straight up Amazon.com and it goes directly to the book.
It'll be out and hopefully shipping in mid-June.
Okay. You could probably get the PDF a lot sooner than that, I'd imagine, on O'Reilly's site or it's an Audible book.
You can get all the I wish it was an Audible book. Not yet.
Okay.
You can get all the pre-release chapters right now, I believe. But
oh, there you go.
I find pre-release is weird because like we still change a bunch of stuff. But if you get the pre-release now, most of it will just be like maybe a crappy version of a picture and like missing commas and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, if you go to O'Reilly's site, they do have a free trial of the book as well if you wanted to go that route. What is it with OBS now? So there's the links to the O'Reilly site if you want to go that route with it. You have to have an O'Reilly subscription, if you will. But yeah, you can go grab the book, and it's it's going to be $812. Jesus, man, what's the markup for O'Reilly? No, I'm just kidding. It's $70, but it's
I only get like $3 a book, so
okay. Well, maybe if you see Miss
not super
Berlin
lucrative.
if you see Miss Berlin at RSA or any of the upcoming conferences, and she has a book, you can get it signed, and give her $50, and then she'll make like 17 times what a book from Amazon would cost. So
Yeah, like I'll just give you the PDF for like 20. Don't tell Riley that.
Okay. Anyway, moving right along. Yeah, no. I like that they had to find that. It's only been about 20 years since they've changed their front of their books, so it's kind of interesting to see a different porcupine or what have you there. So
I think it's the same porcupine, but a different rendering.
right, yeah, it's got color, and it has, it's not a drawing or anything like that. So
Color? Really?
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. It's the same porcupine, but yeah, it's different drawing or different.
Like the front's different.
Yeah. So.
And
but
my name's first.
Goddamn right it is. Please. It's not even alphabetical. It's it's just like you were the first to respond to the email, so you're the first person.
Now.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, it is, isn't it? Yes.
Which is the reason why I wanted it in the first place. Because now it's
there you go.
There
you go. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about some stuff. We got some product management discussions with Miss Berlin. Pragmatic marketing. Oh, interesting. Okay, that sounds cool. I saw a link on LinkedIn. I saw an article on LinkedIn or something that you had posted up about mental health hackers and your mocktail time. What was that about?
It's actually so Sober in Cyber is a new, I don't know how long they've been around, but I met the organizer at B-Sides Charm, and they're actually the ones running it. So they're running an event at RSA called Sober in Cyber. She actually gave a talk at B-Sides Charm about how to organize events and not have them be just focused around all booze.
Okay.
And yeah, so we're partnering with her, and hopefully some more in the future too, because I myself have not stopped drinking, but significantly less than I used to. And I know a lot of other people have also, like I know a lot of people that are doing like healthier stuff. So it's nice sometimes to have alternatives. Even if you do still drink, like having alternatives to parties that aren't just everyone gets 5 free drink tokens, and that's all we do.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's really, really neat.
Yeah, as long as they had, something other than like, Diet Coke or something like that. Not, Sober in Cyber doesn't also mean everybody just, guzzles Mountain Dew or whatever.
Water, yeah.
Water's fine, Well, that's cool. I posted a link to the Sober in Cyber on the site as well. Looks like this was B-Sides Charm. That's pretty cool. So Paul Asadorian was there. Miss Berlin, of course, was there. CI/CD Pipelines. Chris Foulon was there. Okay, good friend of ours on the stream. And yeah, very cool. I'm sorry to miss that one.
I like these. Yeah, I like B-Sides Charm.
It was a one-day event.
The whole fam. 2 days.
2 days. Okay. See, I would go to a 2-day event. It's hard to go to a 1-day event. Like B-Sides Seattle this weekend too. It was a 1-day event.
Other side of the U.S. for you also.
Right.
It's got to be like a 10-hour flight to Baltimore.
Yeah. I mean, B-Side San Diego's here. LA's got some stuff coming up too. Of course, Hacker Summer Camp, of which I'll be at. So that'll be cool. Yeah, very cool. All right, yeah. So Sober in Cyber. So go check that out. And
they are looking for sponsors if anybody still wants to sponsor.
Okay. Very nice.
Yep.
Here's the company. Everybody can take a look at that, and I'll make sure we get it in our show notes as well.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Yes. Sober There we go. Cool. All right. So, Miss Berlin is, dusting off her. Well, she's not dusting off. She's learning a new skill set, and one of those is product management. She's being a product manager with Blumera, which was a sponsor in the past, and we hope to have as a sponsor again in the near future. Talking about product management, you went to some courses you were telling me a little bit about before the show started. Why did you feel a need to go to a product management course? Was this mandated by management? Was it something you felt like you needed to do?
So yeah, it's something that's interested me, has been contributing more to like deciding factors in our company, right?
Okay.
Because I've led our incident detection team for 2 years now, but I've been an incident detection engineer here for 6. And I mean, I've always repetition gets boring.
Right.
To me,
exactly.
right? So like if I'm not being challenged all the time, I'll get bored and I'll go write a book or something, right? Like I just can't do crazy stuff all the time. So we hired a new role, which is a VP of engineering, because we're growing as a company. We need like to split off more and have better processes and stuff. And I've always loved like the intersection of security and engineering. But then like to have more of a say in product direction, I need to know more about how to manage products, right?
Right.
Like there's frameworks out there. I did a bunch of reading, and this course came really highly recommended from our CEO. One of our designers and a couple other people had mentioned it. And it was pretty good. I did a 3-day training, because each one of their trainings is a full day. So they had like a kind of like a 3-pack that you can buy and save some money or whatever. So I did the 3-pack, and I took all 3 last week. You have to take foundations first, which makes sense. It kind of builds all the other classes build off of that one.
Right.
And then I took build and focus, which are the other 2 classes. And it's some of the stuff I already know and was kind of doing. Like they covered during the build class a lot of like prioritization and like frameworks that you can use for that. So that was helpful. So like I'm sure most people have heard of like RICE, or like there's different prioritization frameworks that you can use to like you score on impact and cost, and I can't remember what R stands for.
The R
Reach?
stands for reach. Yeah, reach.
Reach. Yeah. And then
reach,
I think
impact, confidence, and effort.
Effort. There we go. Yeah. Thank you. So like that's a framework, but then there's others that like focus on other stuff. But yeah, it was really interesting, because for each thing that they covered, they would kind of start out with like common challenges in the space. And it's one of those things that like they start describing these common challenges, and you automatically think, holy crap, we're not alone in all of these challenges that we have.
And in what way?
Frameworks and training built around it. So like one of the ones was like prioritizing product features, right? Where you have the politics of the organization, you have a bunch of noise that's just constantly coming at you. You have people's emotions charged, right? You have the sales team that says this thing has to be done next, because if we don't close this deal. You have board members and owners or people on higher levels being like, no, this should be in the product. You have customer support and customers telling you what they want in the product. You have internal
Right.
people. So trying to like juggle all of that and not make people hate you.
Right.
That's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
And the thing that they, one of the things that I like that they said is a lot of people will miss, I guess there's like 4 P's. It's product, price, promotion, and place as far as like the market fit. But a lot of people miss the problem that people are trying to solve. So there's a
Right.
lot of really interesting like viewpoints on how to solve stuff. And they
Right.
kind of look at it from a broader, like taking a whole product to market idea, right?
Hmm.
Where like we're already there, like we're already a product in a market. But delivering features kind of goes that same way, right? So if you
Right.
want to add a new feature to your product, how do you prioritize which ones are more important and why?
Right.
And like how you do that. So they have a whole
Yeah.
framework that goes through all of that, which is it's a lot of information to take in. I have like a ton of notes,
Right.
but they have a lot of really good content, and the teacher's really engaging. They have you break out into rooms and do hands-on activities and stuff like that, which I always like because just listening to lecture all the time, you can only get so much.
Oh, sure.
But like
Yeah.
giving you a business case and having you solve for it helps. So
Right.
this is one of the few non-technical trainings I've ever taken,
Oh, cool.
at
Okay.
least in a long time. Yeah, so it was really nice.
Very nice. Mr. Betcher, that sounds a lot like security stuff. There was definitely some like which features do you prioritize? I was definitely hearing some if you hear that in a security bent, it's like, okay, I've got a bunch of shit in my backlog that a product team hasn't fixed yet from security. It's like, how do you get them to prioritize that? Or how do you make those features instead of security work, which is in a sprint planning, you might have a 70-30-10 or a 70 was it 70-20-10 kind of split. And the 10 is your security stuff. So you have so many features that you can put in at 70, and then your security work is 10, and that means you get maybe a half a dozen story points for that. Prioritizing those is very important. I've had to deal with that
right.
recently.
Yeah, you usually bring in the compliance guy at that time saying, hey, we're not gonna pass XYZ until this feature is done or this bug is
Right.
fixed or
Right.
this, vulnerability is done. But yeah, that's one hammer. And then a lot of customers now are very concerned about security. They're like, where's your pen test? Where's your let me see your vulnerability report. What kind of
Right.
certifications do you have? Do you have a SOC? Do you have ISO? Do you have all these different things? And then we have customers that are getting audited, and the auditors are trying to come to us and audit us, right? And so
Right.
now you're getting more and more of that.
Yep.
And it's becoming these certifications are becoming more and more important.
It's funny, Miss Berlin, you mentioned the sales folks are saying, hey, we need this feature because we can't close the deal otherwise. My lovely and beautiful wife has told me, and I've seen this sometimes where the salespeople will promise that feature to the customer,
Yeah.
it hasn't been made yet, and it's like, oh yeah, we'll have that in the next 6 months, and it's like, no, we won't.
And even if you go based on a even if you go based on a roadmap, like one of the things I try and tell you this too is like your sales team shouldn't get that roadmap. Like those roadmaps are very loose dates based on not much information from engineering. It's a very gut feeling. This might be what it takes.
Right.
So you have to refine that the closer that you get to the work. So yeah, like it even talks about withholding long-term specifics on
Right.
projects that you're delivering from sales,
Right.
just because you
Right.
don't want the wrong expectation going out to a customer and then be like, what's this?
Yeah.
But that's a
Yeah.
problem everywhere. Like, I've never not been in an organization that has had that problem.
Right. Yeah. If you give them something and you say, well, in a year we plan on having this, the salespeople are like, oh, look, we're going to have this in a year. And the customer's like, oh, that'd be really nice if we had it now. And they're like, yes, you will. And that's what, okay, so yeah, next month we'll have this. And no, that's
It's
the 12-month
easy.
plan. Yeah. Yeah.
Too easy for that to get out. You're talking up your
That's right.
product and you're in sales and you want to list all the things that are in it. And then
Yep.
you just want to keep talking. You want to keep talking. You want to list
Yes.
all the things that aren't in it that are on the roadmap.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And look at all these
like,
amazing things this thing's going to do.
and engineering is lazy if you don't get it done.
Right.
And the product team can't manage engineering or manage expectations. So it's just like this back and forth that you have to try and manage.
Yeah.
And I was already told, like, well, when you take on this role, just everyone's going to hate you. I'm like, that's great.
Yep. Yep.
When you're a lifelong people pleaser, it's not going to be happy, but
Yeah.
I'll still do my best.
Yeah. So Mr. Betcher, I've had to deal with this recently. I'm actually working with a device team because they have a lot of security, or they have a lot of debt. Period. It's not security debt. Sometimes it's feature debt, but there's a lot there, and unpacking that is to the point where we now have to triage the backlog to find out, one, if there's a lot of duplicate tickets or a lot of duplicate information in there that we can probably get away with. If there's things of a lower severity that need to be fixed, or things that were a lower severity that is a duplicate of something that's like like a must need kind of thing. In your experience, and you work with developers, you are a developer yourself, but you're also doing security. What how do you handle the backlogs when you're reviewing the backlogs, or do you do sprint planning? Is it an agile kind of thing? How do you know what to work on next, or are you involved in any of that at all?
I'm not too involved in that, but it is, I can say it's a big challenge. Amanda's right. Everybody faces these challenges, and if there's a way to, I guess, quantify the amount of work that needs to be done to satisfy that technical debt and to get it off the plate, and to go, I guess, have a come into Jesus moment with management and saying, look, we've got X amount of work, and until, with the current staffing we have, or the staffing that we're projected to have, based on our retention rate, we'll get this done in the next 25 years, right? Something like that.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. That's.
Have you ever talked? So we just talked about this last week. Have you ever had the discussion with anybody that has talked about? It's like, if you go on vacation, there's people that do this. You go on vacation for a week, 2 weeks, and you come back and you just delete all your unread email, and then if it's important, it'll come back again.
Yeah.
Okay.
This guy
one,
right
I
here.
can't do that. There's absolutely no way. Two, there's also that concept in your bug backlogs.
Right.
Right. Where you just delete all your whole backlog, which gives me incredible anxiety.
Right. Well,
Like, it's
so
all there. Like, people spent time to put all that information there. How can you just delete all of it?
well, we so in our backlog, well, on one of our teams, we had a new manager come in, and there were so many bugs and so many issues that he just archived everything. And he's like, if this becomes a problem, we'll unarchive it, or if this comes back again, we'll unarchive it. And I was like, how do you even know if we put something in the new queue and it's exactly like the old queue was? Will you actually go back and look in the old archive for the thing that was already in there. And we finally got him to the point where he was like, oh, okay, well, we just can't archive everything and, you know, scorched earth everything and start over again. And I was like, yes, that's why we need to do things like, you know, triage what is there, figure out if there's any duplicates, if there's anything that's going to, you know, won't fix is a legitimate thing, you know, in certain cases. But yeah, I've actually started to be invited to, because of my job in certain areas, I'm getting invited to sprint planning for some teams because they have a certain amount of story points, and then I'm looking at the next sprint and they're like, oh, well, we're not going to be able to get everything done in this sprint, and there's 25 more story points that are going to get carried over to the next sprint. And I was like,
that means their stories are small enough.
That's right. I was like, you put too much shit in your sprint. It's like you got too many, you know, and they have sorry for all of you who are looking for purely security stuff, but this is you need to know this shit. You need to know this shit. But it's like your sprints aren't big enough, or your story points are, you're either t-shirt sizing things not correctly. You're not decomposing those out well enough to more manageable bits. Like to Miss Berlin's point, they had an epic in there with this 40 points, and I was like, no, you can't have 40. That's a half a fucking sprint, bro. And I was like, that's beyond XL. You know, if you're using t-shirt sizes, small, medium, large, extra large, I was like, and XL is like 10. And even then they're going to be like, why do you have an XL? That needs to be broken down into, you know, smalls, mediums, and larges. But yeah, 40 points. And they were like, yeah, you probably should make an epic. That's almost its own fucking sprint, bro. And so, yeah, my thing is with the triage and the backlog and stuff, it's like, you got to have security there in those sprint plannings, if there are security tickets in there. So it's something they haven't been doing a lot of, inviting security to sprint planning, but I've got invited to that seat at that table with some other infrastructure folks to go, okay, because we're not there to champion the tickets. So if they're like, oh, you know, we need dark mode over, you know, hard-coded credentials. Okay, yeah, dark mode it is. We're not going to do hard-coded credentials this month. We're going to do dark mode.
Yeah,
more people ask for dark mode.
Yeah, I'm like, Jesus Christ, people, fucking dark mode, really? So yeah, but yeah, it's something that I'm going to be helping out with, because there's quite a bit of security tech debt that we got to pay down. And I was already talking to the PMs. I'm like, look, we have 70% for features, we have 20% for guild, or what they call infrastructure updates and upgrades and library stuff, and then 10% for security. I was like, can we make any security stuff features? You know, like, welcome to, you know, more secure stuff that will help you be a better user or something like that. I was like, if we can convert some of that stuff up into feature work instead of it calling it security, then that would be more ideal. So I look forward to that new challenge, because I'm not sure the development team is all on board yet with that. So we'll see what happens.
When you get really into like sprint planning and stuff, do you start to also think about the tasks in your life with story points and t-shirt sizes?
Yeah. Well, I'm a certified Scrum product owner. So
are you? Okay.
Yeah, and a CSM.
Nice.
So yeah, I actually got the email saying, hey, you need to go get your SEUs updated for the year. So I was like, okay, maybe I should go and look that up, since that's going to be perfectly cromulent to what I'm doing right now. So I was like, maybe I should go get my product owner stuff.
I've never done like legitimate Scrum until now. Like, we were doing it without knowing what it was for a while. Right. And I'm like, this process is great. Like, I know what I'm doing. And then I actually learned about Scrum, and then realized that there's a lot more involved in that.
Well, yeah. And you know, the other thing that they teach you in at least the product owner course is, you will after a while figure out and be able to tune your sprint planning based on which teams you know are working on that, you know, and you have to like measure that stuff, like trending. It's like, okay, these 3 people can do 10 legitimately regularly 10 story points, and then, you know, these folks say they can do 10, but they can only do 7. that kind of thing.
Mm.
And you start realizing, and sometimes you get these, hey, we got these 3 folks, they say they do 10, but they can end up doing 15 because they're just that efficient or whatever. And then you have to adjust them, you have to lower these folks. And, there's a lot of that you have to dial in for that. And, the fact that they had, almost a quarter of a sprint that they couldn't do held over to the next sprint. I'm like, look, y'all ain't doing shit right. Fix that shit. I'm like, and I was putting on my PO hat again. I was like, oh wow, okay. I've never actually had to do this, but I'm seeing the things that I was taught, and it's like, okay, y'all need to fix your shit. You need to decompose this stuff a little better. Maybe reduce the number of things you're planning on working on this year. This month. If you come up with, if you've got time at the end of it, that's okay. You can take on some other legitimate work, but yeah, it's never good to have carryover because then you're doing less and then you're just trying to catch up, and then that's not helpful. So yeah. But yeah. Welcome to Scrum Weekly with
I was gonna say we could have a whole couple things about Scrum.
Yeah, buddy. I actually said that was that was kind of some of the stuff I was going to kind of get with Tanya about for AppSec stuff, because she's doing developer stuff too, and not just AppSec, but yeah, it's the discussion there we had with Josh Grossman about the gap between security and development was quite interesting to hear him talk about some of the issues there with AppSec and getting teams to listen, and it's not shift left, it's not shift right, it's not, everybody just needs to sit at the table. There's no shifting left because security depends on the developers to actually do the work, but we have no access to resources. We don't control the timeline. We don't control the sprint planning in many cases, but a lot of times we're the risk owner, or we're the owner of getting that thing done, but we have no control over the people who are actually doing the work. Or I don't want to say control, but we have no influence over getting that done. And we really have to put on our management hats at points and go, okay, what are you doing here? We have, status we've got to have these metrics, our goals and your goals should be somewhat aligned or whatever. So it's not a left and right. It's more like a trapezoid, everybody's goals, kind of bubble up to the same area.
So are you saying that, security needs to really get a seat at the table, like to implement things, for example, post-quantum cryptography, things like that, in these Scrum meetings?
I think that goes. Yeah, I think that goes without saying. I think there's one. I think if you're talking about like post-quantum cryptography and stuff, you kind of need to know that because they're expecting you to kind of understand that. But yeah, I think at most you can do things like threat modeling. You can say, okay, well, we need to have this because you can't do that, or bug bounty came in. This is a bug that is known externally to the internet. Even though it's a security researcher that we've got under NDA or something, this could get out to media. So there's some influence there to motivate and drive people to get those things fixed. It's always good to have somebody there to champion those tickets and make sure that they can, get the influence they need. Because, like I said, between hard-coded credentials and dark mode, they're going to pick dark mode every time because everybody wants fucking dark mode. So, but yeah, it's always helpful to have, those championed tickets. What did Digital Warhead say? I had to get my Project Plus cert last year. Andy, biggest takeaway was I never want to work in project management. Oh, Digital, you're already working project management. You just don't know it, my friend.
And there's a difference. So I didn't really understand the difference between product and project management much, right?
Oh.
And I think there's a lot of crossover.
There's a little bit,
I'm sure
I would imagine. Yeah.
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 I don't know. I just didn't ever really care about the title.
For me, product management feels like you're
directing the product.
It's almost like program management. The product is everything underneath it. So if you've got an IoT device, you have the infrastructure, you have the device itself, you've got the software that runs on it, you have third-party integrations and stuff as part of the whole product life cycle. And then there's projects underneath, like, hey, you're going to handle the infrastructure, and you're going to handle the firmware, and you're going to handle, the servers on the back end, that kind of thing. So,
Well,
yeah,
isn't it that a project is or should be well defined, and you build that thing that's already modeled,
product is supposed to also
architected.
be.
Yeah. Isn't a product supposed to be well defined?
It's supposed to be.
Ever changing,
Not always.
morphing. Yeah.
I want my floating toilet seat, goddammit. And
I feel like product management involves much more market and customer research.
Oh yeah. What does the customer want? Are you solving a problem that they have?
Solving a problem. Right. Because there's a couple quotes that I don't know if it's just like for them or if it was just my instructor. It's probably in all of the courses, no matter what. But is that people, not organizations, have problems. So you have to like figure out the problems that the people are having, right? You can't just like assume or read stuff on the internet, right? You actually have to talk to people and watch workflows and ask very open-ended, not biased questions. And like there's a whole bunch of research on how to do all that stuff. But
the unbiased question is interesting. That's interesting because you have to craft. Yeah, you got to craft them in such a way as to not give anything away or to make the customer think something. So yeah, that's complicated.
Yeah, and not offer up solutions to their problems, right? Yeah, trying to ask questions like that is not super easy because I want to be biased. Like I think I'm right.
Yeah, well, I mean,
like, how would you like this feature? Just tell me if you want it or not.
What does the customer need versus what you think the customer needs, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then you get into the thing like where if it's your biggest customer, then they start driving the product to what,
right?
They should be involved, right? If they're your biggest customer, then they're the biggest cheerleader for you. Usually,
you could get the entire company off track then.
Yeah, right? Then you're just designing for one place.
Yeah,
that's true.
Right?
I guess. Yeah. You don't want to make something that only Oracle could use because that's filthy.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you want to do that, that's fine, but that's definitely like a strategic business decision.
Right. If you're going to put your eggs in that particular crazy sack. Yeah, if you're going to put your eggs in that crazy sack, then you're going to tie yourself to Oracle and all the ugliness that comes with that. So, yeah.
Then they own you because all your other customers, may not need that particular thing, right?
Right.
It's customized to the Walmarts and the Amazons of the world, right?
Yep. I mean, if you do it right and if you do it to a big enough customer, they probably will just buy you because at a certain point they're like, well, it's easier to do that than do it ourselves.
Right. You got what's Nahito? Nothing important happens in the office, or at least for understanding market problems.
Yeah, so that was around like actual customer research and talking to people. Like I thought it was an interesting acronym.
No, that's great.
Like you can't just assume and read people's comments and do surveys.
Right.
And glean like actual information. You actually have to have somebody who knows what they're talking about talking to the customers.
Yeah. And that's what you like to do. You like to go talk to customers.
I don't mind.
Good answer.
Not my favorite thing to do. I have to be honest. Like it's
so.
I mean, I was in support for a long time.
Yeah.
So I just equate having to deal with customers with also being on call, I think.
Right.
So like that's probably why I didn't enjoy it all the time. But it's different when it's just research.
When you mentioned this and your previous comment there, I hate going back to the security bent on this, but our customers are the people that we have two different customers in two different veins, right? We have the customers who are developers who we want, to put out a
Right.
good quality product. But then we have the customers who are the legitimate customers of whatever it is we
Sure.
make, whether it be a service or a product or a device or what have you. We sometimes have to infer the voice of the people, or through things like threat modeling. It's like, okay, what is Joe Bob Billy going to be doing with this, or what could Joe Bob Billy do with this, or what could a bad customer do, in this case, an attacker, or something like that. I I hate to try to figure out how you would create like an unbiased questionnaire for developers to get them to want to do security, right? If you're you're trying to solve a problem, but you have to go to the people who are actually causing the problem to get them to solve the problem. It feels like that there is an opportunity here for security people to use some product management kind of skills or topics to improve their relationships with their customers.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. It's customer relations. We're customer relations in the aggregate. So
Right. And you just like, no, I don't want to say nobody. A lot of people don't look at it like that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think enough of us look at it like that, though. That's the problem. We ultimately, that's what it is. We're a service-based organization. That's what security is. But we don't think about the customer as people we're trying to assist, or our secondary customers, which are the people who actually use the things. So yeah. Huh. Do you have I have the link to that Pragmatic Institute. Looks like you get a certification of some kind. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a what was it called? Pragmatic Certified Product Manager. Sweet.
Sure.
You're a PCPM. You're a PCPM.
And I'll put that on on my email signature, because I probably send at least one email a month.
Well, it's probably a very important email. So yeah. Man, now I kind of want to take this course. I wonder if my boss would let me take it. Nah, it's too far away.
It's pretty cool. I really liked it.
And it was online, you said?
I mean,
Okay.
they have them in person also.
Oh yeah.
But I just took this role on like 2 weeks ago, and I really wanted to learn product stuff now, because I had already been reading up a whole bunch on it, and I really wanted to take this as part of my new job roles. And the next time I could take it was like end of June. I'm like, I don't want to wait that long. I'm just going to take it online just now.
Yeah. What was the name of your instructor? There's Diane Pearson, Todd Middlebrook, Amy Graham, Clark Smith, Paul Young. Clark Smith. Okay. All right. Decade of experience in hardware, software, service, product management, and marketing. Launched his dozens of products, owned business, and successfully implemented the pragmatic framework at several companies. His focus on building market-driven teams gives him a unique ability to relate to product management teams and executives that are transforming the business. Very cool.
Yeah, and there's people from all kinds of companies, right? There was
really,
oh yeah, like there was somebody from some kind of cardiac medical device manufacturer. There was someone that was doing product management for they were feminine flushable wipes. Was the one guy. Yeah, like just all kinds of places.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, everybody needs product management, right? Everybody is selling something. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's interesting hearing other people's takes on things.
Right on. So if anybody's interested in listening to Miss Berlin talk about the voice of the people, she's going to be at RSA.
Yeah.
She wants your input. She wants to hear. Yes, please stop by the table. She's got some swag. She will have some swag.
I will be
And
dressed up like a
blue hedgehog. Say blue hedgehog. Say
no,
blue hedgehog.
they won't let me. I tried. I found the creepiest blue hedgehog costume, and they're just not super happy with it. I'll put a link in the notes for that.
Wait, oh, I thought it was because maybe Sega would sue you for being a blue hedgehog.
It was just like
Oh,
this real weird costume I found on the internet.
okay.
Our big thing now is Blue Mirror Investigate, which as an engineer and a product person, I don't want to get into, but that's our new thing. So it solves actual problems,
Right.
and which I mean, whatever. But so if our thing is Blue Mirror Investigate, they were talking about having us dress up like in trench coats, right? Like as a investigator, like detective,
Okay.
right? But
What
the
could
thing is,
possibly go
like,
wrong?
well, I also get real hot at conferences because like constantly running around and like talking to people, and uh it's just I don't want to wear a trench coat. So, but I am gonna wear suspenders and dress like a detective, or at least attempt.
Yeah. See, you could be that right there.
I asked if I could be Darkwing Duck, but then I
Yes.
realized that Darkwing Duck doesn't wear pants. And they'd probably
Well,
kick me out
sure.
of RSA. And then
Well,
like
you.
Carmen San Diego is in like the red trench coat,
Oh yeah, and
but
the
she's
fedora.
wearing a black bodysuit underneath that, and I refuse.
Oh.
Like
Now
you get a
wait,
no
is it
pants.
which Carmen San Diego? The one from like the PBS show or the new
No,
one?
just look at all the Carmen San Diegos. It's just like black trench coat. I sorry, black bodysuit with a red trench coat. All the pictures I could
Okay.
find.
Because I can tell you.
Also,
Oh.
like the '80s version, like she's very
Okay.
broad shoulders. She like
Yeah.
original OG Carmen San Diego. Carmen San Diego looks like she could be a linebacker.
Oh yeah. No. See, I'm thinking of this one here from Netflix. So
That's a different one.
yeah, that was a different one. Yeah. But yeah. Wow. See, me with trench coats, it would be like pants aren't the only problem here. So, I'd be, walking
No,
around.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, selling people
Yeah,
watches.
exactly. Perma ban from RSA, my first time ever. And yeah, no. Um, oh my goodness. Yeah, I'd love to dig more into the product management stuff. I think that there's definitely like an intersection between how we deal with maybe marketing security stuff and um, how we work with customers who might be developers or who might be product teams or something like that. Not just developers, but even product managers themselves. Being a product manager to a product manager would be an interesting discussion. I think would be very helpful. So, um, anyway, um, anybody have any questions in the chat? Thank you all for coming tonight. I appreciate that. There's numerous links to our things that we've been talking about, Pragmatic Institute and what have you. Um, so if you could still pull it off with a black t-shirt and black jeans or something. Yeah, there you go. See, good job, digital. Good job, man. Good job. Plus the red fedora, I think would look good. Get that. Uh, so,
But it's so like that's like I wanted short sleeves.
I see an image with short sleeves.
So
Really,
that's the Sonic the head like that's the blue hedgehog that I found. I'm like, please let me wear that.
ew. I can understand now why they wouldn't. 100%. I can't look at that. Where's my control W at? There we go. Oh, thank God. That's nightmare fuel, man. Jesus. I blink and I see that in my face. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. When I blink, I can't blink anymore.
You're welcome.
Good Lord.
Creepy,
So,
creepy stuff.
oh my God. Yeah. you'd think they'd have a fairly decent Sonic the Hedgehog costume or something. Shit, but
Well,
yeah,
there's some good ones.
yeah.
Like,
But I'm sure if you go to Comic-Con, they have, they. Oh, this one's in the UK. Okay, I can't look at that one either. The eyes are dead, man. The eyes are dead. There's just dead eyes. I can't look. Jesus. Anyway, I'm gonna get off the blue hedgehog thing. That
Sorry,
now
sorry.
I can't look at y'all's blue hedgehog now without thinking about the dead eyes. Boy. So I had an interesting discussion today. I got my did. Got my due because I'm going to be
very
on site.
beautiful.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's my filters. I got filters on that make me look better than I should.
You have a great camera too. It's just
well, the Elgato face cam's pretty good. It's getting dark here, so I could probably turn it off without causing any issues. No, I need that. But so I was getting my hair did. My stylist Giselle. Hello Giselle, if you're watching. Hey, what's up? I told her I'd mention her because we started talking about some things, so we got to talking about what was it? We did the weather and kids, and I moved to San Diego for a year and everything. And she asked me what I did, and I said I work, IoT security for a company, and we started talking about, scams and scammers and 419 scams and stuff like that. And I was like, yes, somebody who's interested in things that I like to talk about. And she told me about this hushpuppi guy, which white button Elsie. She said, hey, had you heard about this guy named puppy dog or dog or whatever who's a 419 scammer? And I was like, no, I hadn't heard anything about that. And came home, first thing I did was I looked up, she had mentioned that he was a 419 scammer and his name was Dog. So Google's very good with me and found it. And there's a BBC article about this guy. Apparently he's fairly well known on the Instas, and where's my link? Okay, my link is dead. There it is. Okay. So a BBC article. Here it is. So this person named Hushpuppi, notorious Nigerian fraudster, very proud of the fact that he was a scammer, had Bentleys and MTV Crib like lifestyle, Lambos and everything. He was Instagram influencer, and he was arrested by the U.S. And jailed for 11 years for his role in international fraud syndicate. So I was like, wow. And his name is Ramon Abbas, and he has to pay at least 1.5 million pounds or 1.7 million in restitution to victims. 2 victims, of which there's probably hundreds, but 2 victims are getting paid. But he was arrested in Dubai because I guess he went on vacation in Dubai, and we have a fairly nice extradition treaty with the United Arab Emirates, and he got nabbed there. And yeah, he said he had the glitz behind the glitz of his account became one of the prolific money launderers in the world, leveraged social media platforms to gain notoriety and brag about his immense wealth he acquired by conducting business email compromise scams, bank heists online, and cyber-enabled fraud that financially ruined scores of victims and provided assistance to North Korea. So he pled guilty to money laundering. What's that?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's nuts. So yeah, he's spending some time in the Stony Lonesome, and yeah,
his supporters say he's a changed man.
Is he? Oh, he used to buy beer for everyone, so that's cool. He's changed. Yes, he's not that bad. He buys beer for people.
I don't think his Instagram's active anymore.
Oh, two imams wrote to the judge appealing for leniency, saying he helped out widows and orphans. Okay.
His accounts.
Yeah, we were so digital to your point. Giselle and I were talking about that, about the, I'd read some stories about, the Nigerians don't see any problem with this because to them, we're rich. Like even the folks that, are, blue collar workers are richer than a lot of folks in Nigeria. So they don't see this as a problem. They see it as a a Robin
Opportunity.
Hood kind of thing. It's an opportunity,
Yeah.
right? And they see it as mostly victimless because if we get our credit cards, taken from us, it's a victimless crime. The banks will erase a lot of that issue. And we
A lot
talked
of
about
Nigerian scams aren't like credit card issues, though, right?
yeah,
But people are actually sending like real, like savings money.
Money transfers. Yeah, so thousands and thousands of dollars from, old people or people who are being romance scams or what have you, or business email compromises, etc. And we started talking about MFA and stuff, and I was telling her my mother-in-law writes her passwords down because my mother-in-law is in her early late 70s, early 80s, somewhere around that time frame, and it's like she can't learn how to use a password locker. It's it's beyond the need for her to do that. She has one or two websites she goes to, and so we have her write her password down and in a place that is mostly secure. And you don't need a password locker. But I was like, she was like, oh yeah, I reuse passwords, and I was like, yeah, I reuse passwords too on some sites. I like to enable two-factor auth and those kinds of things. And she was talking about how she would lose phones, and it was a pain in the ass to get your seeds back. Well, it was a pain in the ass because you put your your 2FA things on your phone, and you lose your phone, and now you can't get back into half your accounts because everything's locked down. And I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, we still got kind of a long way to go with MFA and 2FA stuff because it's not user friendly, or it's not. It could be easier if everybody propped up the password locker industry and stored your password, your MFA seeds inside your password lockers. But I was like, not everybody wants to do that because it's yet another thing you have to, if you have a password, then you have to get into your password locker, and then you have to get into your password locker for your 6-digit code, and you have to get into, and it's like we still have a long ways to go before MFA is going to be like fully ubiquitous.
And then what happens when password software that you do use is breached, and
right.
you have to move over all 3,000 of your entries.
Don't worry, it's safe. I use LastPass. It's cool. I use LastPass. It's safe.
Did. And then you have to change all of those passwords.
Yeah. And the one thing I think we were talking about was you've got really complicated passwords in your password locker, but then the password locker has a master password on it that you make weak, because where are you going to store the 35 character password for your your LastPass or your 1Password? So I mean, ideally, passwordless life would be best, but then you got problems with, losing those, or, not everybody carries keys anymore. So you've got your ubiquities, or not your ubiquities, your YubiKeys.
But then you don't have to carry an ubiquity with you everywhere.
You'll have to buy a USB DNA scanner, okay, put it in the box. Okay, it's really you.
Well, I do kind of have one on my laptop downstairs. When I log in to my 1Password, instead of asking for a PIN or my really long ass password that I've had forever, it asks me for my fingerprint. And I
not a swab,
I use that.
right?
No, not a swab. Just just pop that in there.
It's like it's like the diabetic needles. Like you put your finger down on the laptop, it just pokes you once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty painless.
Passwords. My laptop's name is Vampire or Lestat or something like that. So, but it was great. Just hard to type. Yeah, it does after a while. Yeah, you get bruises on your finger. But it was great to talk to Giselle today. You can definitely tell she cares, and I think a lot of people do. And it was great to hear somebody who had had concerns about that stuff, but the technology isn't there for her use case to be able to effectively, be more secure. So that's why things like SMS 2FA is still one of those things that's, almost ubiquitous. Everybody has a cell phone. They can get text messages. And it's really the risk, right? It's the risk they want to take, and it's really education and knowing things like, you don't send money to somebody asking you to do that, or the government is never going to ask you to pay in iTunes gift cards, or don't ever use Western Union, right? If you can keep from it, I understand there's needs for the use of Western Union, but somebody will never ask you to pay them through Western Union. There are more legitimate in many ways of doing that now. And so, Giselle, good job. Keep thinking about that. Keep thinking about security. Keep thinking about being secure. But it was just nice discussion that I had with my stylist today. So it was very nice to see and see that. So, but yeah, so Mr. Betcher, what do you talk about with your stylist?
What do I talk about with my stylist? Well, it's a barber. So we talk about how things are going to crap, trying to solve all the world's problems, things like that.
Right.
I had
barber.
So-and-so remodeled.
The barbers are the ones with the little brush and the straight razor.
Oh, you could probably, you could probably get a straight razor. Yeah. Yeah. I've wanted to do one of those once. I'd be nice to get to get that full treatment. I think we've got a joint down here like Sportclips or something. It'll do something similar, but yeah.
I didn't know they had barbers at Sportclips.
Wait.
That's like the Hooters of haircuts.
Oh, really? That's what that is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there's no barbers there.
They're stylists.
Okay.
Sportclips is like the Hooters of what? Oh.
Yeah.
It says haircuts for men. Yeah. Yeah. See, I don't go to those. So I go to Great Clips or whatever.
Generally haircuts for men, but yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, I hadn't planned on it. I just used Great Clips or whatever, but yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah. Haircuts with heart.
You learned two things today about Sportsclips and barndominiums.
Well, I learned another thing. They opened in Austin in 1993, so they're headquartered in Austin there, Mr. Betcher. So,
interesting.
Yeah. Weird. Okay, Georgetown. Yeah. They were in Georgetown. The first place is in Georgetown. That's interesting. Okay. Well, anything else we want to talk about? There's a couple of things I had in there that, in case we had time. There's, to Mr. Betcher's point about post-quantum encryption, breaking TLS connections, potentially. So
yeah, question though on that one, it's Google has put that out in Chrome.
Right.
Do they know something?
Well, they probably know a few things. What exactly are you insinuating, sir?
Well, that quantum computers now can already break TLS relatively quickly.
The Occam's razor in me is they wanted to have the implementation available for TLS 1.3 and Quick, which Quick is Quick is UDP connection for TLS. So, for those of you who are unaware, it stands for Quick UDP Internet Connection. That's not correct. Why do they call it that then? It's Transport Layer Security Protocol, goes over UDP, I believe, and it's it's basically tunneling for TLS over UDP. But I think what they're trying to do is I think they're trying to stay ahead of the game just in case there is some sort of breakthrough, because I don't want to say tomorrow we could have something, but it's like if there was a breakthrough, they need to be ahead of this, right? Apple's already putting out post-quantum encryption on their phones, so I'm guessing this is kind of an arms race kind of thing. It's like, oh, look, Apple's got post-quantum encryption. We need to have post-quantum encryption. Microsoft probably has it at some point in their systems as well. So if you're not supporting it, you're easily going to be, I would say, old and busted. Everybody's embracing AI, so everybody needs to embrace whatever post-quantum encryption is going to be. So they've put in the Kyber 768 version, I think, in the latest build, which is what's causing the potential breakage.
So how do I get this on my product roadmap, Amanda?
Prioritize it with the rest of the stuff.
Nah, we'll just talk to sales. Talk to sales and tell them, we want the post quantums encryptions and with all the Kybers and stuff, and we need it with all the Kybers,
right.
and they'll be on that like white on rice. So
I heard
we can get all the Kybers you want.
Yeah, you'll get all your deals closed.
Yeah.
So they say because Chrome and Edge browser for Windows is also kind of lockstep with one another. Edge version 124 will also have this problem, but I don't think they mention if Edge has the problem here. Oh no, same problem here since Edge 124 seems to go wrong with SSL decryption of my Palo Alto. These errors are not caused by a bug in Chrome, instead caused by web filters failing to properly implement TLS and not being able to handle larger client hello messages for post-quantum cryptography. Okay,
so you got to put that in your product.
Right, they're expecting client hellos to be 100 bits, and instead the post-quantum ones are like 350 or something like that. So it doesn't see it as a properly formatted client hello and dies. Which would break the connection. So, it causes them to reject connections that use the Kyber 768 quantum-resistant key agreement algorithm rather than switching to classic cryptography if they don't support Kyber 768. And then there was a site called tldr.fail, which I put in our show notes as well, that talks about some of the issues with regards to that. It's a pretty nice write-up talking about the migration to post-quantum. Why, I'm not, and there's a bit of a fact there. It's like, hey, I'm not migrating to post-quantum cryptography until later. Why do I need to do anything right now? And they said you should still make sure that your server doesn't have this bug, especially if you're a server implementer. There may be updates, patches that you need to put in for things like Nginx or your proxies if you've got an F5 or you're doing some kind of load balancing that may not, whatever your TLS terminator or creator is. You may want to go in and make sure that you've got those so that, the latest browsers don't crash and burn when they're trying to make your TLS connections. So,
you need the mod Quanto, plugins.
Yep. With, Kybers and dilithiums and stuff. So all the dilithiums. I think dilithium was also one of the post-quantum encryption ones because, they had to make sure that Star Trek was in there. Unfortunately, I think Star Wars won this battle. Bastards. And so, it is what it is. So, damn Disney. So what else? What was the last thing? Google laid off they laid off a bunch of their US-based Python people. I think we talked a second or two about this before the show started, but the big story is they're moving a lot of those folks to Germany because I think that's where a lot of their language teams are. Some people were very unhappy with that, but I think it makes sense to consolidate those teams down. Hire a bunch of folks over there. And plus Python's fairly mature. So, my thought was maybe they don't need as many people to support Python inside of Google anymore. They have a number of, free read, open source developers out there that have other jobs that are also using Python elsewhere that can innovate for them. So, it makes sense. So, thoughts? I know, Mr. Betcher, you said you use Python all the time. You named your firstborn Python. I don't know why. It was a really weird name, but yeah.
Kind of cool.
Yeah. I'm actually on a Reddit. I'm on Reddit called name like people who pick names for kids. It's like, hey, I want to name my kid, Viagra, and
Right.
yeah, and it pretty funny. Some people are in there like, why are you even alive? Why are you trying to make your kid, why are you doing that to your poor child?
So yeah, my wife works at a pharmacy and she saw one prescription come in for somebody named LA-A. Now, can you pronounce that?
La
La.
la.
No, sorry. The dash is
Oh,
not
Ladasha. Yeah,
the dash is
Ladasha.
not silent. Yes.
It's
Kind of
got to
like
be some
Elon
kind.
Musk's kid, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say this is some kind of Elon Musk kind of thing, like Kesha has a dollar sign kind of thing, but it's not dollar sign Sha or whatever. It's
Right.
Ladasha. Oh my
At least
god.
a dash is normal in a name. Could you imagine being Kesha and like trying to fill out like online forms,
Oh yeah, that's
right? Like
true.
who allows dollar
Dollar
signs
signs,
in the
yeah.
username
Yeah.
in the first name last name
Not
field?
if it's secure.
Well, a friend of ours on the 2600 Facebook group, Lucky 225. That's his name, and he runs up against all kinds of problems with having numbers in his name.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the when you're an O'Reilly or an O'Donnell or something, you've got the single tick. It's like they either allow it and they don't do proper injection controls, so you
Yeah.
get SQL injection
Yep.
that way, or they just omit it altogether, so you're O'Donnell and
Yeah,
all
you
one
just
word.
have to do the backwards leet speak, right?
That's right. Yeah. But
You know,
yeah.
Z-I or Lizzie,
That's when you actually spell out the
the number. Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
Or the symbol. You just spell the symbol instead.
Right. So, but
Dollar
the only,
sign.
yeah. So, Miss Berlin, do people have first names with dashes in them? I mean, obviously, LaDasha over here has one, but usually the dashes are in the last name.
Still,
Maybe
it's like a common thing to be in a name, though.
that's true. That's true. I mean, if you're not expecting it in the first name, then you could run into some problems with input sanitization, but because you're expecting it to be in the
Yeah,
back
like
end.
think like um, this is a bad example because it's associated with a terrible person, but Anna Janine. So like one first name dash second
Right.
first name.
Right. That's true. That's true. Uh, yeah. I
Billy
guess you
Bob
just
has a
want to.
dash,
Maybe.
maybe.
I'm not positive.
I have to go look. How do you spell that?
Billy Bob.
Billy Bob. Billy Bob. No, Billy Bob Thornton's does not have a dash. So
Yeah, like Billy Rose. There's a bunch of hyphenated baby names now. So
ew.
Violet Jasmine. Jazzmyn.
No, that's a threat actor. That's not a.
That's a great game. Threat actor baby name.
There it is, right there. There's your RSA threat actor baby name. Yeah,
Send a DM to Lintile right now.
Engelberg Humperdinck. That's a threat actor right there. That's yeah. Benedict Cumberbatch, definitely a threat actor. Yeah. So. Oh my goodness. Okay. I don't have anything else. There's a good number of links in our show notes to other things, including some D4 tools, digital forensic tools. Tyler Hudak posted up some stuff about collecting Linux forensics using a UAC tool. And J.R. Aquino, who I've been talking to online, gave a great talk at B-Side Seattle. So go check that out on his LinkedIn. And hope we can get JR and his compadre on to talk about his talk at B-Sides, because it was about digital forensics, the dark oubliette, I think is what they called it. So yeah, hope we get to do that. very soon. I'm also talking to my friend Lizzie Marotti, who I worked with at Leviathan. She's coming out with some cloud security talks soon. She's accepted at Forward CloudSec, which is pretty damned awesome. So we're hoping to have her on to come and talk about that. And I'm talking to somebody from an actual PR company about some trustworthiness in AI. So I'm going to hopefully have that person on as well, because I love the concept of trust, because it's so malleable, right? I like Bitcoin. These people like Bitcoin, so I trust them. Coinbase. Yeah, we like Bitcoin over here. Oh, cool. I'm going to give you all my shit. It's like, but no, is that a basis for trust? And yet we do that as security people or people who, make products. It's like, look, I care about the same things you care about. Oh, cool. Okay, we're friends now, and we can trust one another implicitly with millions of dollars worth of stuff. And so trustworthiness in AI, I think, is probably a good discussion. Plus, it'll drive views of our podcast and stuff. So it's purely selfish, but yeah, it's one of those things. So anyway, let's go. Let's take off. Let's go get our week unfortunately started. It's going to be a long week for me, but Miss Berlin, how would people find you online on the internets if they wanted to find you?
Probably LinkedIn.
Probably LinkedIn. Okay.
Yeah.
And they look for Amanda Berlin, which is right
That's it.
there.
Yeah.
Right there. That one right there. Yeah, there you go. I flipped my camera, so I'm pointing left when I'm pointing right. So
yeah,
Mr. Betcher, right, left, right. Yeah, right. Yes. Mr. Betcher, how would people find you? Is it still LinkedIn as well? Also with
LinkedIn.
Just all
you
over
won't
the place
find
here.
me. You will not.
You won't find me. Come visit me at RSA. I will also be at ShowMeCon after that.
Oh, that's right. In St. Louis. Yeah, we got some folks, some BreakSec folks over there too. So yeah, go check out the Blumera vendor pit, and bring fuzzy hedgehogs that Miss Berlin will sign for you. And also, hopefully when will it be? Is ShowMeCon when
out by then?
Yeah, I was gonna will your book be out by then?
Right in a row. No, it's RSA weekend.
Okay.
St. Louis.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Laundry repack and then weekend.
There you are. Look at that. Second one after Johnny Xmas. Nice. Very cool. Valerie Thomas will be there. Paul Coggin will be there. Tim DeBlock. Okay. Very nice. Boy, it's stacked, y'all. Yeah, Jay Street. Jay Street will be there. Alex Hammerstone. Kevin Johnson. Yes, Mr. Johnson will be there. Yes. Win Schwartow. Yeah. Jeff Mann. Wow, a lot of folks.
I saw Kevin at B-Sides Charm, and he let me know how much he made fun of me when I wasn't on the podcast.
Oh. He didn't do that. He was awesome.
People.
Yeah, he was awesome. And of course, y'all are awesome. So yeah, go find Mr. Betcher and Miss Berlin on LinkedIn. You can follow me on LinkedIn as well. Trying to get into the habit of adding like clips and things. So, from the Tuesday, Friday streams or whatever, we'll do some from hopefully this as well. I'm also on Twitter at Brian Break, on Reddit at BreakB. So, started, getting on there. It's kind of fun to hang out in the Am I an Asshole forum, because it makes me feel good about myself. Am I an asshole for, kicking puppies? Yes, you are. And you should feel bad. Yes, you should definitely feel bad. It's interesting. I'm just trying to branch out into different social networks, because Mastodon is just, that's a different place. That's a real different place. Yeah. But anyway, all right. Well, hope everyone's had a good time. Thank you to all of our viewer that has been on for a while, and Digital Warhead and everybody for coming in. I'll be back on Tuesday. Oh God, I won't be. It may be a short week. I may only be doing Friday because I don't know what the on-sites are going to be like. If I do stream, it'll be in the hotel room late at night. So we'll play it by ear. watch the Discord. By the way, if you want to join our Discord, you can do that. We're very, very low traffic if you're wanting to join that. And I usually post up when I'm streaming on there. So you can follow us over there. And so that was it for this week of Breaking Down Security. Have a great week. Be kind to one another and take care of yourself, because as we're fond of saying, you're the only you have. And we'll talk to y'all again soon. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.